Welcome back to Taking Time. I'm Jonathan. And no, these are not 3 Big Crown Rolex Submariners. These are Tudors, and they're highly controversial. Stick around and I'll talk about them. So I've got 3 Tudor Black Bay here. They're all in the 41 millimeter case. They're not the Black Bay 58 in the smaller 39 case. And these are 3 highly controversial watches in the aspects of, we've got the Black Bay steel bezel diver, we've got the GMT, and we've got the very controversial Harrods edition. So not many people are talking about these watches, and I don't know why, so I'm bringing them out into the light. And so I'm going to start with the Black Bay steel diver. So what's otherwise known as the Black Bay diver date. I actually wear this watch. It's my daily wear. So this came out in 2017 with their new in-house movement. I think it's called the MT5612. It's got 70 hours of power reserve. It's got their basically their own version of a silicone hairspring. It's got a full balance bridge. You know, it's got the works. You get a lot of bang for your buck with this watch, in my opinion, because you get a date function, you get a screw-down crown, 200 meters of water resistance, and a unidirectional steel bezel instead of having an aluminum insert. Now, Another thing that's pretty controversial is the bracelet. Now, me personally, I don't like bracelets in general. These, though, look totally different than what's on the market today. These actually feature a full riveted bracelet, which nobody does anymore. All 3 of these watches actually feature this bracelet, and this bracelet harkens back to a vintage look that came on the Rolex Submariner. And it's got a really unique look to it, and that's what Tudor actually is going for, is kind of a heritage-inspired look. Now moving on to the 2018, I think it was, 2018 or 2019, whenever Rolex actually reintroduced the steel GMT with the Pepsi bezel in a ceramic bezel. That exact same year, Tudor actually released their own version of the Pepsi bezel. This is actually super controversial at the time because Tudor was actually seen in some lights to be copying Rolex. Again, it's got the same 41 millimeter case, it's got a screw-down crown, 200 meters water resistance, but it's got a bi-directional, meaning the bezel goes in both ways, an aluminum insert. It's not ceramic, so it's going to fade, it's going to age over time, patina with you as you grow with the watch. It's got a 24-hour bezel instead of having a dive counter bezel, and it's got a true GMT movement in it from Tudor, and it's got a date function as well. And it's got the same riveted bracelet, everything, and it's about the same thickness as my watch is. I think it's around 15 or 16 millimeters. So it's a thick watch, but it's going to be able to take whatever you can throw at it and still go to the beach. Now, moving on to the last piece, which you don't see a whole lot of. Again, this is a highly controversial piece because in some aspects, Tudor, again, is seen in some lights as copying Rolex. But this is also, I think, the most unique piece, not just because it's a limited production piece, but it just looks so drastically different from what Tudor actually offers. This is the limited production, yes, limited production, not limited edition. There is no time frame on how long this watch is actually going to be produced. In 2017, whenever Tudor released, after Tudor released their in-house movement, Harrods actually partnered with Tudor, which is like a super high-end luxury mall that's like 6 stories in downtown London over in England to actually produce a watch that can only be bought at the mall and nowhere else. It's not on Tudor's website. The only way that we got it is magic, really. So this watch actually features the same thing as both these other 2 watches with a little bit of difference. So it's got what's called the Harrods green bezel. The bezel being green kind of copies both the modern ceramic Kermit and then the 50th anniversary Kermit with a little bit of a difference. So this green I think actually looks personally a lot better. And at that, it's got a gilded dial. So the dial on this compared to these 2, where actually these 2 are actually with steel indices and steel hands. This actually has 18 karat gold gilded in, I think it's rose gold indices and hands. Now this features everything that the other 2 have with the 70 hours of power reserve and the 41 millimeter case, and it's 200 meters water resistance. But since it's a limited production, we don't know how long this thing's going to be produced. And, you know, SwissWatchExpo only has 1 in stock right now. And these things go quick. All right. And the market's skyrocketing with these things. So, you know, before any of these things go, give me a call at SwissWatchExpo. Go to our website, SwissWatchExpo.com, while we still have this before it's gone.